Laws of life. In the world, all events take place according to strict natural laws. All parts of universe, material, energetic, are interconnected by means of real laws, laws of inanimate and animate nature, which operate continuously. Therefore, we can call them living laws. Laws are the only things that exist forever. Matter can be transformed into energy and vice versa. Laws are discovered, explained, but never change. Laws govern the world. The law of universal gravitation, the laws of electricity, optics, hydraulics, physics, chemistry, biology, atomic physics, social laws, and many others. It is some of the social laws that will become the object of our special attention. There are many laws. There are some that we don't know about yet. The mechanisms of action of many laws known to us are still incomprehensible to us. Some laws will remain unknown to us because a person is limited in his capabilities. Charles Darwin discovered the laws of the biological world, which described the variability of living organisms, natural selection, and evolution. Since the emergence of man, laws have become necessary to regulate relations between people. These are the so-called social laws. They arise from deeper physical laws. For example, the law of spiritual evolution of people. There are laws that are not regulated by legislation, that are not legally mandatory. This does not mean that we should not comply with them. We are not obliged to, but we should comply with them based on our own interests. Such laws receive special attention in my blogs. Let's call them social spiritual laws for everyone. I have highlighted the 8 most important laws, which I will announce a little later. For now, I will pay attention to one such law, which is number 6 for me, learn the mind. I outlined the understanding of this law in the separate blog on October 28, 2024. This blog is called Philosophy of Mind. Now I will pay attention to only some aspects of this law, which is number 6, learn the mind. I looked on the internet. What does Wikipedia say about the mind? What does artificial intelligence say about the mind? I was completely surprised. Here's what they say. Mind is the highest intellectual ability of a person to think, analyze, learn, and so on. Everything there is said only about man. That is, mind is inherent only to man. Did man really create himself? And where is the mind that created man? Was not he intelligent? There is a physical law of mind, not that of mind that seems to be inherent only to man, but that of mind that has always existed, long before the appearance of living beings, the law of mind which was acted even in inanimate nature. This is the fundamental law of dialectics, the law of development, in which mind is embedded. Mind, like matter and energy, has already existed without us, eternally. This is the law of progress and the law of the victory of the more perfect. Mind is improvement. It is development. It turned out that mind is inherent in all matter, living and inanimate nature. Let us quote this law of dialectics, the law of development. If separate parts of matter and energy, which are in constant motion, acquire the possibility of a more complex formation, then this process occurs with the acquisitions of the formation's ability to a certain self-protection against decay and harmful influences for this formation. Under the action of external forces, the formation undergoes partial destructions, which is necessary for the next stage of improvement. End of the law. Note that the spiritual substance of the mind is described here by a physical law. That is, the mind is material. It turned out a huge difference in understanding the term mind, familiar to everyone in my definition from the one generally accepted in the world. If anyone questions the explanation of mind I have presented, please point it out in the comments. Nature itself, without humans, has found a way to transmit a mass of genetic information using just 4 letters. These are adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. And this information is absolutely intelligent. The human mind only seems peculiar to us. In fact, it operates according to the same rather simple law of mind. People have only increased the number of test threads in different directions of nature and the law as by millions and billions of times. And only those of them that acquire more perfect features are fixed in the great and eternal path of mind. The human mind is the accumulation of experience. If it is not enough, then due to our irresistible craving for freedom, for knowledge, with the help of fantasy, such, we penetrate into different aspects of our life. There we gain experience in order to pass it on. This is the path of mind. That is, the mind is either an accumulation of its own experience and the experience of all humanity, or an attempt at searching. The material mind has its own physical law. Let us list these 8 basic social laws. 1. Observe measure and harmony in life. 2. Constantly adhere to the true essence of life. 3. Always respect every person. 4. Be attentive and sober. 5. Fight for freedom. Observe order. 6. Lend the mind. 7. Work. 8. Adhere to solidary responsibility. The first law on the list, observe measure and harmony in life, will be outlined in the blocks about happiness. The second law is called constantly adhere to the true essence of life. The essence of life, in short, constants of love, consist of love. Separate blocks, loss of love, dated March 4, 2026 and March 9, 2026 were dedicated to love and the description of its loss. The third, fourth, and fifth laws: always respect every person, be attentive and sober, fight for freedom, observe order, will be outlined in the next block. I dedicated the aforementioned block Philosophy of Mind on October 28, 2024 to the justification of the sixth law, learn mind. And on December 29, 2024, in the block Good Will Come, paper money should not become cheaper, but on the contrary, increase in price, I explained the seventh law, which is short WAC. The eighth law, adhere to solidary responsibility, was published on July 20, 2024 in the blog Security of Modern People. There are many laws. Not a day goes by that we do not violate some law of nature, the law of morality. Our whole life is constantly made up of mistakes. Only they are not the same and not so big. But for each of our mistakes, we ourselves bear the punishment, and to some extent our loved ones, fellow villagers, fellow citizens, and even all people. This means health, material wealth, authority, and much more. We are connected to each other in many ways. We are always to some extent responsible for each other, regardless of whether it is formalized in the form of legislation. Thank you for your attention.